We are so back. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back into another movie review. I'm so excited for today's review. We've been on absolute heaters over the past month or so in terms of reviews, Warfare, Sinners, and now we're talking about the latest film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Thunderbolts. I was highly anticipating this movie. One that genuinely made me excited for the first time in quite some time. You know, Captain America, cool, was looking forward to that. Deadpool, Wolverine, my hype for that one was not as big as everybody else's. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it, but I was not anticipating it as much as everyone else was. But Thunderbolts, when I saw the trailers, when I saw the cast, when I saw the overall, kind of theme and plot of the movie, I legitimately had that excitement that I have not had for a Marvel movie in a long, long time. I'm very happy to report that I enjoyed the hell out of it. We're going to get through everything that I like, the goods, the bads. We'll do a little spoiler talk at the end, talking about the post-credit scenes, and so on and so forth. But before we dive in, if you love the movie reviews, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm putting out short form content of my instant reaction to these movies, as well as reviews, long form reviews like this one on all of the biggest movies that come out during the year. I see over 100 movies every single year, and I review the ones that I love the most so that you know what you should go see in the theaters. So if you like that, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you the synopsis. I'm going to tell you what the movie's about. I'll tell you the cast, tell you the crew involved, and then I'm going to go through my rating system. Basically, I have a numerical system from 1 to 100 where I rate movies based on different categories. It's a grading scale like at school. And I'm going to go through each category, tell you why I graded it the way I did, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts at the end of the video. If that sounds good, let's hop into my review of Thunderbolts. After finding themselves ensnared into death traps, 7 disillusioned cast-offs must embark on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their past. Stars the likes of Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Pullman, David Harbour, Wyatt Russell, John-Kamen, just to name a few. Directed by John Schreier, written by Wyatt Pearson and Joanna, Calo. I apologize if I am butchering that. And yeah, it's got the cinematographer that did, I believe, The Green Knight, if I remember correctly. It's got the people that did the score for Everything Everywhere All at Once. The director directed the first season of Beef on Netflix. Like, there's a really solid cast and crew of people that came together to make this movie. And you can tell. I think that the biggest thing about this, and I forget who said, I think it might have been Sean Chandler, but I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. Y'all can let me know in the comments. This is not my thought, though, but I agree with it. It actually feels like a movie. I think the thing that Marvel has kind of gone down is the big action, big spectacle, big cameo type game where there's not a lot of substance in terms of emotion, in terms of story, in terms of character development. And this movie, legitimately, you're telling a singular story about a group of antiheroes that come together. But there's also really good character development as all of these heroes kind of confront their past as, side B-level villains in some of these Marvel movies coming together for a greater good. I really, really liked that about this movie. I'm going to get into everything I have to say about the writing at the end of the video because I always think that the writing is the most important part of these movies. So I'll talk about the writing at the end of this video, but let's start with the performances. I gave them a 13 out of 15. I really don't have any issues here. I think that the cast is phenomenal from top to bottom. I think that all the Thunderbolts here are fantastic. They bring great charisma. They bring different characteristics to the team that you need. And I think David Harbour is fantastic here. He's so funny. He brings a lot of really great life and energy to the film. But the two performances I really want to highlight here are, one, Pullman. I think that he is absolutely brilliant as Bob /Sentry /The Void. He is phenomenal. He introduces himself into the MCU in a way that is a high mark, and people are going to love this character for years and years and years to come. In the century, he's going to play a very important part in the future of the MCU. So I think that he absolutely nailed it. He killed it. He brought really great emotional value and all of that. But this is Yelena's story. This is Florence Pugh's movie at the core, and I think she's fantastic. She really is the emotional anchor of this. You're going through her story, her trials and tribulations, dealing with her mental health and all of this. And I thought that she brought just such a delicateness to this role. And, Yelena is a very funny character. When we've seen her, she's been really funny and all of that. But you do see a more tender, more, heartbreaking side of her character. And I thought that Florence Pugh, who I'm very high on, I think she's one of the biggest, best stars in all of Hollywood right now in terms of acting. Go watch We Live in Time. Her and Andrew Garfield, I think she's incredible in that movie. She really brings some awesome acting chops here, and she's just absolutely phenomenal. And she is, as we're watching right now, because we already know, spoiler alert, because of the chair reveal for Doomsday, the Thunderbolts are going to be in Doomsday, and I think they're going to have a very big role in Doomsday. And I think that Florence Pugh is going to kind of take over the Scarlett Johansson Black Widow moniker. She may not be a part of the core Avengers, but as the leader, I would say the de facto leader of the Thunderbolts, she's going to have a very big role in the future of this franchise. And she absolutely killed it in this film. I had absolutely no notes. The cast here is all phenomenal. I loved it. And I gave high marks, 13 out of 15, really, really good. Entertainment, 9 out of 10. I think one of the things that works really well in this movie, one, it's funny while not being overbearing. I think that's a big thing. If you can be funny without being overbearing, I think that can make the movie really effective. But I think the action in here is shot in a way where you can see what's happening. And I think that, Shang-Chi, that's why I really like Shang-Chi so much, was because you could see the action happening. And you see that here in this movie. The action, it's not a lot of flying and superpowers and things like that. It's a lot of punching, shooting, hitting, all of that. But they do it in a way that keeps you invested. That can get a little dated as you go on, but the fact that they did it in different, filming styles and different ways, it kept it engaging. It never got old. It never got stale. And I thought that this was just a really entertaining movie. From start to finish, I was completely engaged, and I absolutely loved what I was watching on the screen. I thought they executed really, really well. That kind of goes into direction. I gave this an 8 out of 10. I think the vision here is clear. I think it looks aesthetically pleasing. I think, again, just the execution of this very confined story in the MCU is something that I really enjoyed. I think that the cast, the crew in general killed it, and the director's vision was very well executed. And it looked, sounded from top to bottom like a really solid movie. This is a solid movie. We're not just talking about MCU movie here. We're just talking about movie in general. It is a solid movie, and that is the MCU's bread and butter. When you can make just a good movie around these superheroes, that's when the audience gets engaged. That's when the audience actually buys in. That's what the first 3 phases of the MCU, and that's what the Infinity Saga did so well. They made good movies around these characters. They weren't just trying to set up a bunch of stuff in the future. They weren't trying to, set up all of these cameos and do all of these things and this and that and the other thing and have the big shock value. They were telling confined stories that then linked up with the greater universe. And that's what the Thunderbolts did that was so well. And that's executed in the directing. I thought it was fantastic. Emotion is 10 out of 10. I got teary-eyed in a few of these because this is a very emotional story. It's a story that a lot of people can relate to, about mental health and the struggles that people deal with every single day. The feelings of belonging, feelings of loneliness, finding a found family if you feel like you're all alone, and I love movies like that. This band of misfits gets together and turns into a great team, and they have their struggles, but they find a way to work as a team, and they band together. That's great, and the emotion here is fantastic. And again, I think that Louis Pullman and Florence Pugh in particular we are really following both of their stories and both of their struggles with mental health and how they deal with it, how they deal with loneliness and depression and things like that, not feeling like you're enough, feeling like you've made too many mistakes, feeling like everything is your fault. And I thought they tackled that really effectively. I think Iron Man 3 is incredible in the ways that it shows anxiety, the ways that it shows panic attacks and people that go through anxiety. I thought that Iron Man 3 did that perfectly, and I think the Thunderbolts does a really good job at showing some other sides of mental health and other things that people deal with in mental health. And I absolutely loved it, and it left me emotional. I felt for these characters. I wanted these characters to, have a nice warm hug. Like, I wanted to hug all of these characters. I felt so bad. And that's effective writing. That's effective storytelling, and it was really, really, really well done. Cinematography, I gave it 3 out of 5. It doesn't do anything life-changing, but it still is shot well. I thought it was done very well. The score, I gave it 3 out of 5. I'm going to have to revisit it because everyone's heralding this as an incredible score, one of the best scores in the MCU. And I think upon rewatch, this my score for score might go up. I didn't notice the score in my first watch, and that's probably because I was focused so much on what was happening on screen. But once I go back and actually listen to it a little more intently, that score may bump up. But from what I heard, I thought it was good. Did not have any issues with it. I thought it was well done. But again, that's the one that I think may go up in the future upon rewatch. Pacing 4 out of 5. This movie flew by. Like I said, I was completely engaged from start to finish, and it was just a damn good movie. So, pacing, when the pacing goes, you're going to be engaged, and I really, really enjoyed that. Technical, I gave a 14 out of 5. I thought the visual effects here looked really good. And again, they showed in featurettes, they did a lot of it practically with practical sets, practical stunts, and that always makes a movie better. It always makes a movie better when you do it practically, and I think that we're starting to see Hollywood studios kind of go back to that more. Obviously, you've got the green screen technology, the volume technology. That looks incredible, but people are smarter than that. And people are able to see, kind of see through that BS sometimes if the VFX are not good. And so I think that practical sets, practical stunts, all of that really lends to a really good product. And I think that lends to the technical being up a lot higher for me. I really enjoyed it. Rewatchability, I gave a 4 out of 5. I would rewatch this. I think it's really, it's a very solid MCU movie that I think is very easy to watch. It's very consumable, and that's another mark of a good movie. If you can easily rewatch it, if you can easily put it on and enjoy it, that's the mark of a good movie, and I absolutely love that. And then, of course, the automatic 5 out of 5 points. I give every movie at least 5 points because I can never give a movie 0 because I know how hard it is to make a movie. And the fact that a movie got made, no matter how good or bad it is, it deserves a few points. I will never give a movie 0 points, ever. I will never give a movie 0 points. Let's talk about the writing. I've kind of already pieced together my thoughts on the writing in this movie, but I gave it a 13 out of 15. I think it's a very well done, very delicate look at mental health and how these heroes who we have on incredibly high pedestals deal with, struggles and things that regular people deal with every single day. And the character arc of not just Florence Pugh, but Louis Pullman, and how they kind of find each other and help each other through their struggles is incredibly effective. It's a very effective way of telling this story, and I really liked the route that they took. I believed it. I was on board. I was very emotional. I was invested, and that was great. I love the, again, this is, I kind of already talked about it. You're bringing together this group of, B-tier, kind of anti-villain villains from these smaller MCU movies, and you bring them all together and they form a team, and it's the scrappy anti-hero type team that you don't want to love because they're kind of anti-hero villains, but then you love them because they're charismatic and they've got good, banter and stuff, and all for all, I just really enjoy that kind of coming together. It's a small scale movie that in the future has big scale consequences, and I really liked the formation of this group. It felt like phase 1 type MCU stuff, which we don't get that often anymore. It was a lot more consolidated to just that story. The fate of the MCU was not on this story, and I liked that. It was a breath of fresh air, something that we don't get that often in the MCU. And look, like, not every movie can do that. Some movies have to set up the future. You know, Captain America, you had to tie up some loose ends with the Eternals. You had to set up Red Hulk. You had to set up the future of the MCU because you hadn't really done that in the movies before that. And so, like, I get that. And I liked Captain America. I didn't hate Captain America. I thought it was a pretty good movie. But this one's way better, in my opinion. And I liked how small scale of a story it was at the end of the day. And you know, the villain of Valentina, I think that her story was really interesting, and it, again, you don't have to rewrite, you don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Like, you know, villains like that, you know, kind of government oversight and things like that are always going to be interesting. They're always going to be intriguing in the context of superheroes. They will never not be intriguing, at least to me. I don't know if other people feel that way, but at the end of the day, the story here is really about mental health and how we deal with mental health and the different ways that people do it and the goods and the bads and all of that. And I thought it was incredibly effective, and I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, that's it. Let's talk spoilers. Spoiler warning. If you have not seen Thunderbolts, spoiler warning. Turn it off. Spoiler warning. Let's talk about the post-credits. First post-credits, a joke. It's fun. I thought it was funny. I laughed. I thought it was funny. Second post-credit scene sets up a lot. You've got the new Avengers, they're the Thunderbolts. They're not going to be the new Avengers. They're the Thunderbolts. In their new base, and a ship enters the atmosphere, and it is the Fantastic Four spaceship. And we're cooking with gas now, folks. We're cooking with just a little bit of gas, because we are finally going back to some Phase 1 type MCU post-credit scenes where you're not saying too much, but you're setting up quite a bit. Because obviously we've got Fantastic Four coming out in July. We will find out how they make it to our universe, because clearly they're not in the prime MCU universe. So we will find out how. We know they are. We know they're about to make it to our Earth because you set that up in Thunderbolts, and that's going to lead to Doomsday. But it's just, that's classic MCU post-credit scene that gets you excited. It does not give you too much, but it gives you just enough where you're like, okay, the wheels are turning. We're starting to move towards Doomsday. How is this all going to connect? And I'm sure once we get to Fantastic Four in July, we're going to get more answers as to how this all connects. But I was very excited for that. I did actually get it spoiled before I went to the movie. I can't look at those pesky articles, man. I always do it, and I can't do it. So I did get it spoiled, but I still thought it was executed well, and I'm very excited. Fantastic Four, I'm so excited for that movie. I think it's going to be really, really good. And yeah, I'm just really, they're starting to connect, which they have to. They don't have time now. With Doomsday coming out in less than a year, you have to connect. You don't have a choice. So I'm very excited to see them finally start to connect the dots and connect the pieces, and how is this all going to connect? They should have done it sooner. As someone, I think this was Sean Chandler as well, said, they should have done the Thunderbolts probably 2 years ago. And I totally would have agreed with that, because you could have started to lay the seeds then and kind of start the foundation. I think they got a little too in their heads about too many side projects that don't have any connection to the story that we're headed to, and for good and for bad. You know, there were some good stories, but there also were some not great stories. But I think if you would have done this 2 years ago, when some of these characters were still fresh in people's minds, and you started to lay those seeds towards Doomsday, it would have been more effective. But again, 2 years ago, Jonathan Majors wasn't a garbage person, and the plan was still Kang, and you were still laying the seeds for Kang, and that just didn't happen. So they did have to pivot, so I give them a little leeway on that. But at the end of the day, I'm very excited for the future of the MCU, you know, through better or for worse. I think it's going to be okay. I'm very excited to see what happens, and I think that they set up the seeds necessary for Doomsday in this film, and I'm very excited to get some answers for the Fantastic Four when it comes out in July. That's it. That's the end of the review, guys. That's where I'm going to leave you. You let me know in the comments. Go down right now and let me know, what did you think of Thunderbolts? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know your thoughts. Be civil in the comments, but I want to hear your thoughts down below. I loved it. I liked it a lot. 86 out of 100 is a B+. I really liked it. I thought it was very solid. I didn't love it, but I thought it was great. And I think a lot of people are too. I think there's a lot of really high marks in terms of reviews here, which is really happy to see that I'm not in the minority here. I think I'm in the vast majority. But that's it. Real quick, I actually do want to shout out Chris and Cam, Filmstock. If you guys know Filmstock, they got engaged, which is incredible. I'm so happy for them. Saw the post yesterday when I literally got out of Thunderbolts. Saw that they got engaged. They've been friends of mine for a while. So Cam and Chris, if you're watching this is at the very end of the video, so I don't know if you're going to see this or not, but if you guys are watching this, congratulations. I'm so happy for you guys. It makes my heart melt. It's so cute. You guys are awesome. You guys are meant for each other, and I'm so excited for you guys to tie the knot. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So congratulations to Chris and Cam. If you have not subscribed to their YouTube channels, go check them out. It's Cam Silas, I believe. I may be in the noggin forgetting that, and then it's Filmstocked. You guys know Chris. He's a friend of the channel. So go subscribe to them. Congratulations to them on getting engaged. Absolutely incredible. That literally put a huge smile on my face when I saw that. It was so awesome. That's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to leave it there. I thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this video. It's a bit of a longer one, but this was a big movie, so I wanted to give you a full review. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, follow me on social media, and until next time, we'll see you later.